Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to start or me. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I can start. Hi guys, my name is Bria.
And I'm James.
And this is What the Muppet, a show where we're going to analyze, I think it's 37 Muppets and 5 Muppet movies at random.
I am so looking forward to doing this with you. And we should mention right away, we have a connection. We've known each other for a while. You are my daughter. I am your father. We'll get that out of the way. I felt very Darth Vader there. Very
A little bit. Maybe Darth Vader is like nicer.
Yes.
Who went to therapy.
Which would have been a whole different scene. It really would have went over a lot differently, you know? Like, Luke, I'm your dad.
Well,
like,
Luke, first off, let me help you
yeah,
up. Then let me tell
before
you.
I throw this dramatic news to you while you're hanging on the thing there, you know, of course he's going to fall. I mean, you didn't get that kind of news. But we digress. We are here to have some fun and to talk Muppets.
Yes, that is the most important thing. We're two Muppet heads, and well, we could just dive right into what the Muppets mean to us and why we wanted to do this.
Great idea. Yeah. Great idea. I think the premise of this show is a great way to lead into that too.
Yeah, definitely.
So how are we doing this show, Bria? What is the way? I see these hats in front of me. I see all these pieces of paper that you worked so hard to put together.
Yes. So there are 4 hats in front of us. If you're not watching, one of the hats is filled with Muppet facts and quotes that are mostly from Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets. So there's that hat, and then the next hat is full of 37 Muppets and 5 Muppet movies. The next hat is full of prompts of this Muppet blank. And then the next hat is a would you blank prompt. So the premise of the show is we are going to pick from each of these hats at random, so we have no idea what Muppet we're going to grab, what fact, the prompts and everything. So a lot of the show is improvised. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Which is, I think, not only one of the fun parts of it, but also one of the walking a tightrope kind of things. And, you know, live podcasting, anything can happen.
Right. Put 2 people who love the Muppets and have anxiety and throw them in a podcast.
And boy, just shake that up, see what happens. That is some good gumbo right there. That sounds like it's going to be fun.
Speaking of gumbo, the hat that's holding the Muppets, the random Muppets, is Bubba Gump shrimp hat.
Perfect. Yeah, if you're not watching, I would at least check out the video for a little bit because you worked so hard on this. The hat choices were perfect too. I like the hat choices; those are great, and you did a really nice job putting all this together.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It was hard to pick which hat was going to be which because I have a lot of silly hats, but I think it worked out.
We got the premise. Now, why are we doing this? Well, because, as Bria said, we're Muppet heads. We love the Muppets, and I think it's such a fun idea, too, because we both come to it from a different angle. Going ahead and giving our credentials now, our bona fides, as far as why we are doing a show on Muppets. For me, it starts right where the Muppets started. As a little kid, I was fortunate to get to stay up late with my mom and dad on Saturdays and get to watch Saturday Night Live. And for those who don't know, early on back in the day in SNL, Jim Henson and Lorne Michaels worked together. And Jim Henson would do a lot of Muppeteering on the show and incorporate a lot of that with it. And it was obviously much more adult humor and much more Muppets in a much more adult light, but it also was done a little more tongue-in-cheek and a little more kind of almost those last elements of the 50s almost, 50s style comedy that you can get away with. And kind of done where with Muppets. You couldn't get away with it maybe with real actors, but through Muppets some of these jokes landed.
Right.
And it really got people to see the real, people like this. This could turn into something. What could it do for kids? And adults, to me, it's the precursor to Pixar and all these things. Pixar's done a great job of doing with their movies, making them a bit adult friendly while also obviously kid friendly. But there's jokes in there for moms and dads.
Yeah.
This is what Jim Henson did with the Muppet Show early in the day.
Yeah.
He pulled in the kids obviously, but moms and dads stuck around and saw what their kids were watching because they had jokes in there or they had themes that they would like or guest stars that they knew, and it brought people in. So that's what I grew up on. I was fortunate to almost not have any kind of like cable or any real TV because I had PBS and I got.
I was a PBS kid too.
Yes. That's so awesome. I got to really grow and have a young creative mind be really not only having my Nana and Papa and my mom and dad with the movie influences and all that, but with my own love of this and having Jim Henson be my earliest teacher, really. Him and Robin, like Rob Williams, those are the guys that really helped tune me in this imagination of mine that is like a gun in an action movie. It doesn't need to reload. It just keeps going, and I can control it half the time. And
that's a great analogy.
and it works for me, but it also works for something like this.
Yeah.
Because I, for one, have no journalistic integrity. Jim Henson's one of the biggest influences in my life, and I admire and look up to him almost every day.
That's a check mark for me as well.
Yeah. But also, I think my angle on this comes from a nostalgic kind of perspective and a real love of all this and all things that he touched and that he had an influence on. Yours is a little similar, but also, a little younger, obviously.
Yeah, well, before I get into mine, I want to ask you, since you got to see the show when it would, new episodes and things like that, is there a guest that you, in particular, like, it stands out to you that you remember?
Robin, clearly.
Yeah,
As this is so early in the day, there's no preview. Robin Williams is going to be on Sesame Street today. You didn't know.
Yeah.
So when these guys showed up, like Johnny Cash or Dolly or any of these people that I oh my God, you just freaked out and were so excited. I can still remember being a little kid and Robin Williams showing up on Sesame Street and being in awe of him and seeing him work and work with the Muppets and working with the kids and stuff. I think that one's probably the most noteworthy one that I remember.
Yeah.
I remember, who was it? I think it was Sammy Davis. I think it was Sammy Davis Jr. that was on. I'm getting this wrong, but was flirting with Miss Piggy, and Kermit had a problem with it or something. And it was like it usually went the other way around.
Yeah.
It was a woman on, and she was flirting with Kermit, and then Miss Piggy would come in.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that being a little, the dynamic being a little bit different.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, thanks for answering that.
I want to get to your bona fides in a second, but I think we should tell the audience. Both of us in other side gigs interview people, so I think we're going to be seeing some of this going on here a little bit.
I know when I asked that question, I was like, oh my hi-ho pistachios.
Felt the same thing.
Well, I think that I was introduced to the original Muppet movie first, and I think my mom showed me that movie. And I fell instantly in love with it. It felt like a safe place. It was so whimsy and imaginative and just really comforting. And I found such, an oasis, in that world. And, Kermit, but I don't know why, but when I was growing up, I had such a draw towards characters that were responsible.
It's another check mark.
Respectable.
I am so sorry you inherited that. I apologize.
So Kermit was somebody that I was I really connected with.
Yeah.
And we were garage sailing, because we did that a lot growing up, and I found 2 VHS tapes of the original Muppet Show. I can't remember who the other guest was, but one of them was John Cleese.
Oh, nice.
And if I could have found a better tape, it was so funny, and I just watched it over and over and over again. And I was very naive as a child as well, so I had no idea that there were hundreds of these episodes.
Oh, sure.
So I'd only seen those 2, but I loved them so much, and that kind of just grew into my love of watching more of their movies, and I'm Muppet Head I am now today.
That is really cool.
Cute.
I should tell you, I'm warning the audience, and I think I should warn you about something. In the time that we've been talking about doing this, I've already got us a spin-off. I want to do the same thing, but with Fraggle Rock. I loved Fraggle Rock. It is still one of my favorite shows of all time. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched an episode of it, but I would gladly sing you the theme song at any point in this run of this show, no matter how many episodes we do.
I'm glad that you're sitting down and this might shake you, because this is something I haven't told you, but Fraggle Rock scares me.
No.
I haven't watched it since I don't know, it was just this one clip I saw as a kid, and I don't know what it was, but it scared me, so I refused to watch it ever since. I haven't watched it So
Don't blame me. Don't blame you if that's the
maybe I
case.
should try it as an adult.
We'll see.
But
Well, we build
we'll
up to
ease
it.
into it.
Yeah.
It'll be like exposure therapy.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Oh, I did not know that.
Oh my gosh.
Man. Oh.
Matt, my fiance's parents, they know this. So sometimes if it comes up on their timeline, they'll like send it to me. I'm like, okay, guys, very funny.
Yeah. That is a good sibling parent kind of thing. Or not sibling, but
in-laws.
In-laws kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Good to know too. I will not be bringing that up again. Good thing I didn't jump into the theme song too. This could have been the real podcast already be over. Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, and so that'll be the end of What the Muppet. We have one episode run of this podcast. Now we got the premise, we got the bona fides, and I like getting into just like diving right in if you're a game.
I agree.
Cool.
Yeah. So maybe we could alternate. I can start
Yeah,
and then.
yeah, ladies first. I like that.
And do a little ASMR.
Gotta get that in there. Yeah, they might not believe us on that.
Right, yeah. So I'm going to be picking out of the Muppet Quote / Muppet Fact hat. Oh man, this is crazy.
I know, it's so
Here
good.
we go.
Just starting.
Okay, so it is a quote,
Cool.
and it's from Brian Henson, which is Jim Henson's son,
Yeah.
and Jim Henson's son and daughter are the ones who run the Jim Henson company now.
How cool is that, by the way?
It's so cool. Yeah, you couldn't have asked to be born into a better family
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
That's
Well,
amazing.
To be real, a lot of people don't do the family business thing anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to do their own thing, which is cool. That's
Mhm.
awesome. With this, it's so valuable that it goes to people that are invested. That
Yeah.
it's not just a job or money to them. That there's a passion behind it.
Yeah, it's so special.
I really give J.J. Abrams a lot of credit with the Star Wars movies he did and bringing them back in and going like seeking them out, and they were very hands-on in the puppeteering in that movie and on the set every day with that stuff. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, really cool. Well, here is what Brian Henson said. I guess I learned a couple of good lessons from my dad. One was when you're creating something, what you want when you're working with a team of other artists is everybody to work with some creative freedom so that you really get the best out of everybody. Oh, what a great quote to start the show
That's
off
the
with.
perfect quote to start off with. That really
It
is.
really
That could have
is,
worked
yeah.
out better. Oh, well, I guess we got to keep this episode now
I
too.
guess so. Yeah, we can't scrap it now.
This is not the pilot. Oh, it kind of is, but
Well,
was that good?
thank you, Brian Henson.
Thank you, Brian Henson.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank the Henson family, to everybody that has ever worked on an episode of that, any show or anything to do with that. We're
Yes.
not able to do this fun and have this fun and have all this time together. This means a lot to Bree and I.
Yeah.
We were looking for something to do together too. So it means something, and it's really the idea of this, and I thought about this on the way here. The idea of this is such in the essence and theme of the Muppets, bringing family together,
Aw,
getting family
yeah.
talking, like it's kind of organically happened, but it is
Yeah.
perfect. Like I have no doubt that they gotta be smiling about something like this. And a big thank you to them
Yeah.
for giving us the opportunity to do this. That is a perfect way to start the show.
It really
the whole
is.
thing, I
Yeah,
like it. That's good.
I'm super happy about that.
All
Well,
right.
the theory of chaos moment. What
Mhm.
Muppet or Muppet movie are
True,
we going to
true.
start out with?
All right.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh,
You're
this
right
is
here.
crazy.
I can't believe we're already doing.
I know.
The idea that wasn't that long ago that this came
No,
about.
it was really just like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was washing the dishes and it just popped in my head.
That's such a good idea.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
All right.
What is it gonna
Here
be?
we go. Here is our first Muppet. Oh no, it's a Muppet show. It's a Muppet movie.
Really?
Muppets in Space.
Oh my god!
1999.
I love this movie, but you haven't seen this movie.
No.
No.
And I think that now we could pull another thing and throw it back in if you want. I'm
Maybe.
alright with kind of doing that if you want to, but I do
Yeah.
like that it was chosen first.
Yeah.
And I am going to watch it probably this weekend. So the next time it gets pulled out, it'll probably
Okay.
go.
Well, maybe we should put it back in, but before we do, I want to ask you, what do you think is the plot of the movie? So then when we do go back to it, we can remember what you said and see like
That's good. That's good.
how much you got.
So one of the oldest bits on the Muppet Show to me was Muppet, the whole thing I just did there.
Pigs in space. Yeah.
You know, and so my whole concept is, the whole movie is about that. It's not, I'm sure, but like when Bree gave me the DVD to watch, when I first saw the DVD cover, that was the first thing to pop in my head. And I haven't really gotten it out of there since. There's certain types of movies that I love because I go into them with house money. I feel like it's not going to be a bad movie. I'm not going to watch a Muppet movie and come out of it like, well, that was a win. I can't believe that the storyline. Who chose that actor? You know, like I do with some movies. I don't think I'm a snob on movies, but I dissect the daylights out of them.
Yeah.
With something like this, I'm not going to be watching Kermit and be like, oh wow,
he could have done better with that ball.
Yeah, I really wish that he had tried a little harder.
He's a little stiff.
Yeah. I'm not going to be critiquing any of this. I'm just enjoying it. I'm a fan. I'm a kid. One of the biggest things in the world right now is the love of nostalgia, and I'm no different than anybody else. I get into it. So just seeing the title, seeing the name, I'm excited. I cannot wait to watch it. I do really apologize. I am coming into it though. We can't do this because of me though. I do feel bad at that.
No, that's okay. How about, well, you get the fun of picking another one.
Okay.
Okay, now let's see.
Okay.
If it's another movie, I don't know.
That would be funny. Oh, and it's not. It is the great Marvin Suggs. Marvin Suggs.
Oh my gosh, I just watched a video to familiarize myself with him, like the other day. I watched one.
I'm gonna pull him up.
Yeah, please do.
Because I know the name. I know right away. I'm seeing it. But this is one of the fun things I think about the show idea, is there are so many characters that are, the face is a household face.
Yeah.
You know when you see it. But like, what was the name of that character?
Right, yeah.
What is it? And you're going to find out through this show. You're going to be able to find some of this stuff out.
That's why I thought it would be good to put the picture next to the name on these slips. So to describe this character a little bit, he is a blue Muppet, and he's got, a little bit of hair going on, a little bit of shiny balding, and he's wearing a fabulous outfit. He is an instrumentalist, I believe. What do they call that? A conductor.
A conductor. Yeah. He's kind of the band leader. Yeah. Very Callisto, very Latin jazz kind of look to him.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
I want to say kind of inspired by maybe Tito Puente or some of the great Latin jazz artists back in the day.
Look at you, whipping out Latin jazz information.
If there's something about jazz, I probably know it.
Really?
Yeah. That's one of my wheelhouses. I love jazz.
Somebody has to know on this show.
Yes.
Thank you for being the jazz expert.
That'd be my one thing I bring. That and anything on a high shelf I could grab for you. With this character too, I'm remembering this is so cool. So I see that picture of him and like pulling at my brain, and then immediately I look at one little scene and I'm like, oh, it all comes back.
Yeah.
It just all floods back. So yeah, there was a very Tito Puente thing to him. He debuted in '76, designed by Jim Henson and Mary Castle, who another great builder, should get credit and get mentioned here multiple times. Performed by arguably the greatest ever at anything you want to bring up, voice acting, anything else, Frank Oz.
I didn't know Frank Oz did his voice.
Yeah,
oh
I didn't either. Until seeing it right here in the Muppet Wiki, which is probably another thing that we'll be referencing a number of times here. That is really cool. I think it'll be more like we get into doing this, and it'll be interesting to see the voices that Frank Oz didn't do.
Right.
He did so many of them.
Honestly, though, he's such a talented person, and when I was watching the Muppet Caper last night, I was like, oh, he wrote and directed it with Jim Henson.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
If I remember right too, and you can kind of see it in the picture here, he had these little characters with him that didn't really, they made noises, but they didn't really talk. And he would kind of Malentine hammer that.
That's the video I watched.
Okay, yeah.
It was the actress who, what's her name? She was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Ooh, Susan Sarandon.
Yeah. So she was the special guest, and she was supposed to be singing a song with Ralph, but he wasn't on stage when the curtain came up. Marvin was, and she's like, "Oh, where's Ralph? I'm supposed to be singing with him." And he's like, no, I'm going to be doing this. And he hits them with the mallets.
Yeah.
And they say, ow, 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 ow.
That's it. Now I
And
remember.
she's like mortified. She's like, you can't hit these little creatures because they're so cute.
Stuff,
Yeah, and then Ralph eventually comes out and he's like, somebody locked me in my dressing room. And true Muppet nonsense.
That is a great character. What a perfect way for this to start. Actually, I'm glad I wouldn't have minded if it was one of the more recognizable characters, but I was hoping for this. I was hoping for that obscure kind of niche characters. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right.
So, if you were to describe this character, how would you describe him?
Aggressive. Aggressive. Yes, aggressive.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very blunt.
Yes.
He's a blunt person. A blunt Muppet, I should say.
That's
yeah.
good.
He's very eccentric, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is who he is, and he is proud to flaunt it. And musically talented.
I don't know how much of the intention it was of the show, but I felt like one of the cool things about the Muppets was so many different personality types were represented.
Yeah.
And it felt like any good storytelling, the watcher, the viewer can put themselves in the shoes of some of the characters, whether they want to or not. And you were talking about relating to Kermit. You weren't alone there. Somebody else related to Kermit quite a bit, and that was comforting to me as a kid, moving around a lot. But Gonzo was a savior to me almost as a little kid, because Gonzo was the weirdo on the set. He was among all these weirdos and characters, he was the weird one of them all. And in my family, I always was that. I was that black sheep in a family of black sheep. A gray sheep in a family of black sheep, if you will. And I think that every one of these characters represents something like that. I don't know if that was intended, but it certainly came out that way almost. And I think with Marvin, again, Marvin Suggs, great name.
It is a great name.
There is no Muppet that has a bad name.
I was just thinking that. They're all brilliantly named.
I realized that as I was looking into the show and familiarizing myself with some of the characters, that, oh my God, they have the best names ever. I've never needed to. And I don't know how much spitballing they did with it. How about this or how about this? It feels like a lot of these were like first takes. Marvin Suggs, that works. Let's go with that.
Yep.
Animal works. Animal. That's it.
That in itself, the simplicity of it, he couldn't be named anything else.
That's
just who he is.
Man, there's certain ones that we're chomping at the bit to pop up. I cannot wait. We're gonna keep doing these, whether anybody listens or not, just to be able to get to these names. How would you describe Mark?
I would say he's sassy. He's.
Good one.
I think aggressive was also good. But he's sassy.
Yeah. Got an attitude to him.
Yeah.
Something my aunts were always called spitfires, and I see in certain people that I'm like, oh yeah, now I get why that term is there. Yeah. And to me, it's a very, I think of it as a kind term. I think of it as something that somebody who has not going to take any guff. They'll stand up for themselves and stand up for people they care about. The way I've always thought of the term, and I think of him almost a little of that in him too.
Yeah,
but much more about him. Yeah. Much more, about Marvin.
Yeah, he's very fiery. When he's on stage, the attention is on him.
Now that we're talking about this too, part of the idea, and I think fun part of the show is not just getting the Muppet, but putting them in a situation.
Yes.
And this guy is a great guy. This guy is great. Well, I don't know what's coming up out of there, but this is going to be interesting to put him in whatever spot this is.
Yeah, well, with that, I will pick out of the wood, I think it's this Muppet.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's the first one. How would this Muppet be at a fine dining restaurant?
Oh, wow.
So Marvin Suggs, picture it. It's a 5-star restaurant. One of Gordon Ramsay's best.
Yes.
There is a chandelier, just in the lobby. And you walk in, there's piano music.
Velvet floor.
You're
in a fancy restaurant and they're willing to put velvet floor or carpeting floors.
Yeah.
You're
absolutely right. It's either fine dining or it's a supper club that hasn't been touched since the 60s.
Yes, it's so good. Oh my God. And the maitre d', who I guarantee is not his native accent, but will have an accent. Will have an accent in some form or another. And be looking down on you probably.
Yeah.
So and I like the idea of Marvin being that maitre d', but to get to play with the theme and everything, he's there. He's a guest. So how about we're inviting Marvin to this meal?
Yeah.
That's the way I'm picturing it.
Okay, yeah, somehow somebody is sponsoring our meal, so we're able to go to this fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
I picture that we all have, our coats, and we're going in, and obviously there's a coat check because it's a nice restaurant. And we're polite about like, oh, here's my coat, but Marvin's like, here's my coat! And he's got like a big like suitcase for his mallets that he like obviously had to bring because who knows if like a musical number is gonna happen. And he's like, I need this all checked and don't you dare touch them and stuff. And he's just super particular about everything. And that's how I picture the entrance happening.
I think once the meal is ordered and served, he ordered clams. So they can smash them.
Oh,
so
that's brilliant.
Or lobster or something like that.
A lobster, because you have to smash so much.
Yes, that's it, lobster. That's the one, lobster. So he definitely orders lobster. And that's the only reason is so that he can smash it.
He doesn't even eat it. He's like, I'm not hungry.
Yeah, no, it doesn't touch a thing. Just makes a huge mess.
It's not fine dining enough for him.
I like the idea of him also in the middle of conversation, getting up and like going randomly to other people's tables and smashing their food.
Let me smash that for you.
But yeah, like he thinks he's helping. Like those mashed potatoes aren't mashed enough. I don't get that.
Potatoes.
Yes. Somebody having their soup and one of his little furry things showing up in the soup. That's definitely going to happen. That's definitely going to happen. And I don't know if we last long enough to then even finish our meal, or for us to finish our meal.
I think we were definitely asked to leave.
We're probably I mean, we may not even make it to ordering.
I think like salads. That's where.
We get our drinks. We get served our waters, and that's.
I see him bringing. I don't know if they have names, but like the little guys that he hits with the mallets. I see him bringing them in like a big bag and having it in the check, and they escape. Yes. And then they just run amok. Yeah. They get into the kitchen. They get into like the dining things. They like crawl under somebody's dress, and they go woo.
Absolutely happens.
All the things.
I didn't realize that we would be creating new episodes of the Muppets while we were doing this.
We're actually assisting them.
Yes, we are. Yeah. This is such a good scene. That could definitely happen.
I can see it in my head, absolutely.
That's
great.
Gosh. I'm trying to think if anything else.
Do you think he would foot the bill?
Oh, that's a great question. So let's play it out that we actually do get to stay and finish the meal and get served our check and everything and all that. I think that Marvin, and maybe even in good intentions, like I'll take care of this. But then because one thing when we were describing him, I forgot to mention. I think that he is very sporadic. Like very, what do they call that? Where you're just squirrel. Yes, scatterbrain. Yes. So I think that he has the intention. He'll be going up to go pay for it. Which, by the way, I've been to a couple fancy restaurants. But not to enough of them to know if we're even handling this right. We may be handling this like a Chili's, because neither of us really. But anyway, as he's going up there to pay the check and just being sidetracked and he's running off.
Right, and we think that he paid the bill, but little do we know we are dining and dashing by accident.
What we're getting in trouble for here? He didn't pay the bill. Somebody's gonna pay this bill. And that's how the episode ends. Marvin. That's our Marvin.
As we're being handcuffed and thrown in the back.
That's silly Marvin. Oh yes, yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh! And then in the background, the police are trying to handcuff the little round things, and they're just hopping away. Well,
how do we do this?
Well, that is Marvin in a fine dining experience. And our last hat is a would you prompt.
Mm-hmm. So let's see here.
Wow, that was really fun.
This last hat has a lot to live up to. Those were great. Let's see. So our first one out of the would you hat. Would you would you travel abroad with this Muppet?
Oh my. Well,
travel abroad with this Muppet.
I think it depends. I don't know why, but it depends where we're going. And
Oh, yeah, all right.
like, do I want to fly in a plane with Marvin? Not particularly.
No.
Sounds like, unless he's like sedated, he's gonna take a long nap, because that's a long flight. And I can see him getting very squirrely. Would I go to Canada with him? Yeah, it's a short drive. I would maybe do that.
Very similar to the fancy meal. If we're flying together, I don't know if we get on a plane. I don't know if
Does he
Marvin.
make it past TSA?
I don't think he makes it past TSA. I just don't. I don't know if that happens.
It was such a riot.
So probably the train, probably car.
Yeah.
You know, you're making
You get
this a
different
road
sleeping
trip.
cars.
Yeah, something like that. I think if we're like going like to the town over, you know, sure.
Yeah.
No problem.
A day trip.
I can handle that. Yeah. If we're going a state over, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
It's pushing it.
I love to travel, and I know you do too
Yeah.
and stuff. I would say that it's got to be. It's very few and far between anybody I would think of that I wouldn't travel with just because I love to travel so much.
Mm-hmm.
That the journey alone would get me to want to do it. I don't know about Marvin. I don't know.
Okay, I have a question. If you could pick a Muppet to accompany us and kind of be the buffer to handle Marvin, what Muppet do you think would be up for the task?
That's so good. Great question.
I'm trying to think.
Fozzie.
Too.
Yeah, Fozzie.
Oh, yeah.
Fozzie always seemed to be the driver. Him or Ralph seemed to be driving.
He is
They
always
always
the
seem
driver.
to be drivers.
Yeah.
And there's something about that to me that, maybe I'm thinking of my papa, your great grandpa here. But Papa was always so good at that. Like nobody messed around when Papa was driving.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad a little bit, sure, but when Papa was driving, you just kind of like there was a tone that was almost set, and you weren't going to act a fool
as soon as
too
he
much.
touches
You were,
the wheel.
yeah. And I feel like with Fozzie, even though he's the comedian, he's a silly one and stuff. There's something almost comforting and calming with him. So maybe he would calm Marvin a little bit. Maybe he'd be a buffer with
That's
that.
true, yeah. Or if Marvin's acting crazy, Fozzie will find a way to spin it.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, everything's fine.
Or at the very least, there's humor.
Yeah.
There's good comedy there.
That's
There's, to at least keep things lighthearted.
I think that's a good pairing. I think that, or because sometimes Fozzie can be a little scattered as well. So it either is going to work out really well,
very
or
bad. Yes.
it's just going to be a bad trip.
Very bad trip.
Where would you go with Marvin and Fozzie? It has to be out of the country. It has to be abroad.
It's the first answer to pop in my head, so I don't know why, but France. I'd like to go to France with them. I don't know why. I honestly, and I got nothing against France, but I've never really thought much about going to France. It's one of the few places
Something
I've
about
never,
Marvin just speaks.
I think it is. I think it's Marvin. I think it's something about that, or maybe it's the idea that one thing I do like about one thing that I have thought about going to France for is their entertainment, their comedy.
Oh.
They have a very different approach and a very different like to comedy. What they're at least they used to be. I don't know if the younger generations are or not, but the old adage of French people love Jerry Lewis. And that used to be a lot of their favorite type of comedy, that style. That was a long time ago, so I don't know how true that is anymore. But I feel like Fozzie and Marvin would fit in well with old France, maybe my old idea of that. I don't know, so we'll see.
That's brilliant.
I'm doing it though. Now that you said it, now I feel like I have to take these two on a trip to France. I feel like we have to go. And I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's a spin-off movie there.
Definitely.
Most
Well, you're
definitely.
coming. You can't like set this up and not come through with it. You have to go.
I'm waiting to you at the gate.
So, gotta go with it.
Oh, darn. No, I think that's a great idea.
What about you?
The same thing with you with France. I don't know why, but the first thing that popped in my head was Spain.
Oh, good one.
I don't know why.
That's good though.
I think that his like fiery and like sassiness would fit in well there.
Yeah.
I don't know about Fozzie. I feel like you can put Fozzie anywhere and he'll be like waka waka. I love this place. Like I think he'd be fine. But yeah, that was the first thing that popped in my head for some reason.
I like that. I like the idea of putting Marvin or any of these characters so many of the Muppets feel like a fish out of water kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the idea of putting Marvin in with other people that might be like Marvin, might have a little similar energy that Marvin has. That'd be fun. Maybe Marvin's not that weird. He's just been around the wrong people.
Yeah. Maybe he gets there and all of a sudden he's just cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
Who is this
Find
guy?
my people. I'm good.
I was with a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah, I need people with a good energy. You want to party, you want to have some fun. I love that. That's a great
Oh my
answer.
gosh. Well, thank you, Marvin, for
Yes.
being our first Muppet on Welcome Muppet.
Couldn't have had a better one to do it
I
with.
don't think so. I think that turned out really well.
I'm really happy with this, and I'm really happy and proud to be doing this with you. A big thank you, Bree, to setting all this up. Bria did so much of the heavy lifting when it comes to this, so thank you for that.
Well,
Appreciate you.
thank you for jumping on board to this crazy Muppet train.
This is going to be fun. This
It's
is
gonna be a
one
blast.
of many.
Yes.
Of course, biggest thank you is to you out there. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening.
We should mention too, we aren't above sponsorship. Throw that out there.
So if you want to help the show, a great start
Yeah.
would be following us on Instagram and on YouTube.
Yeah.
It will be at What the Muppet Pod or What the Muppet.
Mm.
I think it's What the Muppet Pod.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to give us a follow, that would be great to help us start out. Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, we can't wait to do another Muppet with you guys. And thank you again for listening and watching.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Okay. See you later.